Hey everybody, my name is SPAZ, and I'm a CD junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, as the subject says, I am going to discuss a band by the name of Venice. No Google, that's a picture of Venus. I am talking about Venice. Correct planet, but wrong Venice. Google, can you please show me a picture of Venice? Okay, we're getting closer here. Now, please show me a picture of Venice, the band. There you go. Thank you. Yes, I am going to be discussing a band from California, Southern California, by the name of Venice. Now, Venice consists of two sets of brothers, Kipp and Pat Lennon and Michael and Mark Lennon. Now, Kipp and Pat are the younger brothers of the Lennon sisters. Yes, the Lennon dynasty, not the John, Sean, Julian dynasty. We're talking the Lennon sisters dynasty. Lennon sisters, of course, got their start back on the Lawrence Welk show, and they appeared on TV, and they appeared in magazines, and they had cutout dolls and comic books and stuff. Well, Kipp and Pat are their younger brothers. And if you think that, the girls had wonderful harmonies, well, these two brothers, they sure had fantastic harmonies. Put them together with their cousins, Marky and Michael, and you have got a blend of two sets of brothers combined, and it's got that sibling sound, but it's this family dynamic that is just glorious and wonderful. The band is influenced by a lot of the things that came out of the West Coast scenes, anything from the Beach Boys to the Laurel Canyon scene. A lot of their influences are now considered, yacht rock or folk rock. So you can hear bits of Steely Dan and the Eagles and Fleetwood Mac and Jackson Browne and Crosby, Stills, Nash. You can hear that in their harmonies and in their arrangements, and it's really quite a stunning blend of talent. And they have been doing this for about 42 years, because Kipp and Michael formed a band in 1977. Marky eventually joined in, I think, 78, 79. Pat joined in 1980. And by 1986, they released their first record, which has never been released on CD. It was just an independently released mini album. Their first album is How I Got Into Them, the self-titled album here. Let me tell you, when I first saw this album on my desk back in my Abbey Road Distributors days, I remember looking at this going, oh, another band like Winger or Journey or Foreigner or whatever. And I figured, I'll give it a shot. I'll give anything a shot because I love music, and I that's how I discover stuff. So yes, I discovered this in 1990, and when I put it on, it blew my mind because, as I said, these wonderful harmonies and these jazz-influenced songwriting, very advanced arrangements and songwriting. For a debut album, it sounded like these guys had been around for decades because they were so in tune with each other, and it just sounded great and fabulous. Well, the problem is these guys were more interested in creating music and creating a sound and connecting with their audience. They were less concerned about guitar solo faces, making those goofy faces that they make in all the videos. They weren't concerned about that. They were concerned about the guitar solos. They were concerned about writing the songs. And for some reason, it did not click. Of course, Winger and Warrant and all those bands went on to great success. Venice sounded nothing like them, so Venice sort of got lost in the shuffle, which was really unfortunate. This album came out in 1990. Took another 5 years. The band still played around. They slimmed down to a more conservative four-piece, which was, the four Lennon brothers. It must be said that Mark Harris has remained their bass player ever since these early days. So Venice is actually the four Lennons plus Mark Harris. They go through various drummers, and they bring in some keyboard players for live work and studio work and stuff. But anyway, it took another 5 years before the garage demos. Part 1, slow stuff. And when it says slow stuff, it's more the mellower stuff, the more acoustic, lots of great harmonies, lots of great songs, definitely something to check out. Don't think for a second that this is not recorded very well. It all sounds like it could be released on an album on a major label. It's just that it was them laying stuff down in the studio. A lot of the stuff never was re-recorded by the band. So these CDs, that one and part 2, the fast stuff, contains material that you aren't going to find on any other Venice release. Some of them, they were re-recorded, but most of it is not. And when this says fast stuff, it just means tougher, more rock, more or heavier, but still wonderful harmonies and those same old influences. Like I said, Fleetwood Mac, Eagles, even Doobie Brothers in there. Some of the bands that people consider yacht rock. Venice essentially are musicians. And they've worked with a lot of people. They worked with Roger Waters. They worked with Jackson Browne. They worked with Warren Zevon. They worked with tons of people in various variations of the Lennon brothers. But when they're all four together and creating music under the name Venice, that is really where the magic happens. 1997 saw another big major album. This was called Born and Raised, and lots of great stuff on this, including That's the Way It Is, For a Kiss, and Baby's Calling. Another fine album. This was 1997. 1999, 2 years later, comes Spin Art. And this is really an album that kick-started this series of albums that just really brought Venice's sound up to date. Venice evolved with the times, but they didn't change with the times. Venice was always Venice. At the heart, they were that band, that West Coast influence band. This is a band that should have been huge, and they were. They just weren't huge in America. But I'll get to that in a few. Spin Art came out in 1999. Fantastic record. The Road to Where You Are, End of the World, fantastic. They do a cover version of Landslide, which is the Fleetwood Mac song, of course, and The Family Tree, which is the last song on the album. It's really a song that if you've lost a family member, it's a song that you really need to play for other members of the family, because it really helps people get through tough times. But Venice, Spin Art, 1999, fantastic. Now, by this time, they were becoming huge in the Netherlands. That's right, Holland just embraced Venice, and they became superstars in Holland. In America, they could walk into any Jack in the Box and order something, and people weren't going to say, hey, aren't you? No. But in the Netherlands, they were winning awards, and it was just crazy. And in fact, at this time, the year 2000, they put out a collection of their 2 meter sessions recordings in Holland, and that's one of the big radio stations over there, or one of the big radio shows. And I don't personally own that, but here's a picture of it. But now back to their studio albums. 2002, Welcome to the Rest of Your Life. Man, this is yet another just a huge step forward. Think Again, Sweet Aloha, Precious Stone. They re-recorded Baby's Calling, which is just a great song, so they called it Baby's Calling again. And then, of course, Welcome to the Rest of Your Life is another great song. That came out in 2002. Those harmonies and their songwriting, stunning. Then comes Pacific Standard Time, came out in 2004. Yet another great album. I'll Keep My Fingers Crossed. Don't Worry, Alive Again, great songs off of that album. And still, nobody was paying attention in America. Hello? Knock, knock, who's there? In 2006, there was a Japanese compilation called A Band Called Venice that contained like the best of the last couple albums. Also in 2006 came Amsterdam. Brand new. This is not a live album as what you would expect. But it's got like It's Too Late for Me Now, Ashes in the Snow. It's got a cover of the Concrete Blonde song Joey, and there's even a medley at the end that has the band doing a bunch of the more soulful R&B tracks from the late 50s, early 60s. Like Up on the Roof and Stand By Me, things like that. But a great medley of that. But that's 2006. 2007 comes More garage demos. Volume 3. This is called The Other Stuff, or Part 3. This actually has one of my favorite Venice tracks ever, called This Party Is Over. And but another fine collection of Venice tracks. Now, I'm not showing any of the Christmas albums or live albums. I'm just sticking to their studio albums. But I will make an exception with this, Good Evening, which features bonus tracks. You know, it's live tracks, but features 4 studio bonus tracks. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then came Homegrown. It's a CD DVD combo, and this is a best of compilation. The other one was released only in Japan, but this one was released in Europe and maybe even America. But it was a compilation of great tracks. Took another few years for the band to put out an album, but boy, did they ever put out a great album. What Summer Brings is a 2 CD set. That is right. 2 CDs. Featuring 2 CDs. And this is, in my opinion, probably their greatest album. I mean, it's got When I Come Back, the Hummingbird song, Chemistry, Mikasa is Sukasa, She's Gonna Be the One, The Go-To Guy, A Thing About Love. There's a lot of great songs on this. It's a 2 CD set. Venice. Came out in 2013. Highly recommended. Well, the Fort Lennons and Mark Harris decided, let's get back together with the original lineup from the debut album, and let's write and record some new songs. Well, Lucky 7 Part 1 came out, and 7 songs, great tracks. In fact, Feel You, Feel Me, which is track number 1, that might actually be my favorite Venice song of all time. It's just absolutely wonderful. Then came collection of cover versions called Brunch Buffet in 2016. This features covers of songs by Billy Joel, Hall & Oates, Dan Fogelberg, Poco, Joni Mitchell, Ed Sheeran, Keane, Earth, Wind & Fire. Great, interesting, and fun collection of tracks. Then the following year, they released Into the Morning Blue, another great collection. It's more of a mini album. It's not a full length, but it does have Doesn't Get Better Than This, A Dance by the River, Sunrise, August of 1969. Great stuff. Again, the harmonies, the songwriting, it just all falls into place. And finally, in this stack of Venice, I present to you the brand new album, Jacaranda Street. This is brand spanking new album from Venice, filled to the brim with great tracks. It's more of a relaxed album. It's not just punch in your face. It's more like, hey, let's sit back and write these songs, and let's let the California sun and the summer and the spring breeze and the winter chill and everything inspire us to write new music. And this is what came out of it. Lavender Light is a great track. Stepping on the Bridge, which sort of goes right into 27th Avenue. My Love Waits for Me, Middle-Aged Lullaby, absolutely stellar, wonderful release. That's Jacaranda Street by Venice. And that is it with my collection of Venice CDs. I hope that maybe something that I talked about inspires you to go check them out. But you know what? If you want, you can go to Spotify and you can stream them if they're up there. I'm not sure if they are. But I beg you, support the band. In fact, I'm going to have their web address right down here so you can go straight to their website and check them out. I believe it actually has sound samples. And there's even a 2-record vinyl that they released about 4 years ago that is kind of like a best of some of their tracks. And definitely check that out. But until the next time we meet, my name is SPAZ, and I'm a CD junkie.